Welcome back poolside once again, where the vibes are immaculate. The pressure is enormous, and somewhere on social media right now, thousands of Knicks fans are convincing themselves they're perfectly calm. We got this. You're not calm. You're not fooling me because a few nights ago, this looked like the Knicks championship. The city was electric and the celebrities were showing up. The memes were being created. The parade routes were probably being mapped out. Then Victor Wembanyama logged on 20 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a performance so dominant it feels less like basketball and more like somebody accidentally turned the difficulty setting down. And now here we are. The Knicks still lead the final two games to 1, but the Spurs have done the one thing they absolutely had to do: make everybody nervous. New York knows a win tonight puts them on the doorstep of history. San Antonio knows a win tonight turns this entire finals into a 3-game sprint. The Garden will be loud. The celebrities will be courtside. Just to name a few, the usual suspects. Ben Stiller's here. Timothy Chalamet's here. I hear Wu-Tang Clan is performing at halftime, and Miss Taylor Swift is in the building. So the celebs are here. Every possession will feel like it carries the emotional stability of an entire series. Jalen Brunson has been spectacular. Victor Wembanyama has been just the same. And somewhere tonight, somebody is about to make the main character. Maybe it's Karl Anthony Towns. Maybe it's Stephon Castle. Maybe it's De'Aaron Fox. Or maybe some role player is about to have the kind of night that turns him into a New York sports trivia question for the next 30 years. That's the beauty of June. No spoilers, no leak script, no algorithm, just basketball. Game for the NBA Finals. Ryder Bullock alongside Benjamin Zion, where the Knicks are trying to avoid a collective "we're cooked" moment. The Spurs trying to complete their comeback arc. And honestly, this one has all the ingredients of an instant classic, Benjamin. We have a series.
We do. We absolutely do. We're looking at the New York Knicks again, coming off of this game that they were shut down. They were really shut down. Defense looked great from the Spurs, and the New York Knicks just weren't making those shots. So when I look at this game, Ryder, I'm really looking for Karl Anthony Towns to initiate himself. It doesn't matter if you get wrapped up. It doesn't matter if you get knocked down a little bit. You just got to get back up and play tough. That's the biggest thing with Karl Anthony Towns that I want to see. And then, hopefully Bridges doesn't get in foul trouble and can make those shots again. Because if you have those guys firing on all cylinders, along with Jalen Brunson, along with maybe Anunoby has a great game again, maybe Josh Hart's hitting those threes, this is a tough New York Knicks team to beat, especially with maybe a Landry Shamet scoring, maybe a Jordan Clarkson scoring, little effort off the bench as well as always from Jose Alvarado. He's their energy bunny. McBride scoring again. So they got to make that recipe happen. All of their players for the New York Knicks have to be engaged, and they got to take that Shaolin mentality away from the Spurs because, man, the Spurs, they did look good. Stephon Castle couldn't be stopped. Victor Wembanyama couldn't be stopped. De'Aaron Fox had some fourth quarter Fox flashes, even though I've seen the reels online where people miss the Sacramento Kings Fox.
Yeah.
If the Sacramento Kings Fox came out, dunking all over people, slashing, dashing, making three-pointers, I mean, wow, I don't know how the Spurs would be stopped if that Fox came out. So, man, you look for this Spurs team to continue with that great defense again, even with Keldon Johnson at 6'5", defending Karl Anthony Towns. So, I mean, this team is deep. Can't forget the fact that you have the young rookie, you know who I'm talking about, Dylan Harper, knocking down shots, playing 35-plus minutes, ladies and gentlemen. That's a rookie in the NBA Finals, looking like he might as well be a starter. So hopefully his shot can fall today. I saw that, he had some heartbreakers, in and out, three-point shots that looked great. They just didn't go down. So, both of these teams will be looking to fire on all cylinders shot-wise. I'm sure the defense is still going to be played at a very high intensity. I don't think the refs are going to be calling tick-tacky fouls too much. I would at least hope that. I think they're going to let both of these teams play super hard, and I'm very excited for this game, Ryder. I got the right colors on today, though, because I said the New York Knicks are going to win Game 3, and if they win Game 3, they'll win Game 4, but they lost. So, Knicks, I got your colors on right now. I hope you guys have a better chance with that.
We do this show from Southern California, obviously, and I was walking at the promenade down the road here, and I had a black and white T-shirt on, nothing formal, and this guy came up to me in a Knicks jersey, and said, "Are you rooting for the Spurs?" Like he was getting ready to, and I said, "No, I'm not rooting for the Spurs. I'm not rooting for the Spurs." So tonight, somehow, the stakes feel even larger than they did 48 hours ago because for the first time in these NBA Finals, the San Antonio Spurs have reminded everyone why they won 62 games and battled their way through a loaded Western Conference. You remember at the beginning of the year we talked about the Eastern Conference kind of being the developmental conference, and
Yeah.
whoever won the West was going to win the championship. Well, I don't know if that's accurate anymore. But
Yeah.
on Monday night, behind 32 points from Victor Wembanyama and several clutch baskets down the stretch from Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, who you mentioned, San Antonio walked into the world's most famous arena and left with a 115-111 victory. And just like that, what looked like a Knicks coronation has become a series again. So tonight for the Knicks, it's simple. Protect home court, take that 3-1 lead, move within a single victory of ending a championship drought that dates back more than half a century. Jalen Brunson continues to be the heartbeat of this team, 32 points in Game 3, fearless in the big moments, and once again carrying the expectations of an entire city on his shoulders. But standing in the way is a player who may already be redefining what is possible on a basketball court. He's got mugshots in New York City. People want this man arrested for flagrant fouls. Of course, I'm talking about Victor Wembanyama, who has been spectacular throughout these finals. He led the Spurs in scoring, rebounding, rim protection, and perhaps most importantly, belief. The 7'4" man changes every possession simply by existing. The Knicks have thrown double teams, physical defenders, and different coverages at him. So far, none of it has truly worked, Benjamin.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, we even have Richard Jefferson saying he's 7'5", maybe taller. I mean, it's just wild. You know, this man, when he comes onto the floor, you look at him playing defense on Karl Anthony Towns, and it really looks like a shooting guard versus a center. I mean, it's quite incredible to see what this guy can bring to the floor as someone who's just a specimen that we've never seen before in the sport of basketball. So I really look for Victor Wembanyama to set the tone for this team, along with Stephon Castle, number 2, and number 3, De'Aaron Fox. And we'll see if they can do it again, if they can win away and, just treat the New York Knicks like they're not in the Garden. They're actually back in San Antonio, and they're going to, be winning in front of their people. We've seen some Spurs fans sprinkled into that New York Knicks crowd, and, Victor Wembanyama did have some comments along with other Spurs players about some Spurs players being harassed and even beat up a little bit. So, just on that note, I want to add, because even Ryder had his experience today, this is a sport that is supposed to really bring people together. As Adam Silver said, we can have our passionate disagreements like Stephen A. Smith and, all the other guys that he debates on TV. But, it should never come to blows. It should never become, something hateful. This is a sport that we love and respect for the fact that, it gives so many people in this country and around the world now an opportunity to prove themselves on the world stage and to actually give a future to themselves as well and their family. So, got to give a hand to everyone making these games happen, from, the guys that do lighting to the people that put the hardwood on the floor. This is an amazing sport that we have to respect. And overall, this is not a jab at New York Knicks fans. I know that there's probably some Spurs fans that are tough too, just as, we all get into it as NBA fans. But, let's keep it respectful. Let's keep it classy. And, I'm ready for a great Game 4, Ryder.
Okay, perfect. Let's talk about Wembanyama in Game 3. He was doing what we know him to do. The spaceman has come alive.
Mr. Alien.
Now, was this actually a defensive answer for him, or are the Knicks simply hoping to contain the damage in Game 4? Do you think we're going to see vintage Wemby tonight, or you think the Knicks have it under control?
I think we will see vintage Wemby. I mean, we should see Victor being vintage. But, the thing with the New York Knicks is it seemed like they just really got shut down on defense, and it started making them miss shots. Sometimes when the defense is just so tough and you're worried about, hand checking, the foul here, oh my God, on the other end, when you start doing that, when you're thinking about how you've been fouled and what the play was before where the ref didn't call it, whatever, you might start missing your shots. So I hope the New York Knicks come into this game with, okay, whatever, the ref might have missed a foul at the, play on the other side of the court. Or, I got hit on the wrist and they didn't see it. Get that out of your mind. focus on what's the next play, how do I get that shot up. If the New York Knicks can really do that and just lock in and know that, it doesn't matter what the last call was. You have to score now. They have a chance to continue to play well in this game.
How does a home team finally get it done at home tonight?
With the New York Knicks and their amazing, the energy is always there when the New York Knicks are playing hard and doing what they have to do. The last thing you want to do is have turnovers in this game, sloppy turnovers, or just uncalled for bad shots, which I'm going to say we haven't seen the uncalled for bad shots. I think we've seen only pretty good high percentage shots from the New York Knicks. But yeah, don't do that. Don't turn it over. Don't take bad shots or you're going to suck the energy out of the stadium. And if that happens, I think it could be scary for the New York Knicks. I think the Spurs, if they feel the energy get sucked out and it's in their favor now, they'll just start taking over.
The San Antonio Spurs enter tonight with momentum and confidence. The Spurs are one of the NBA's best road teams, winning 30 games away from home this season. They know if they can steal another one in this building, the pressure shifts entirely back onto New York. Meanwhile, Benjamin, the Knicks come in 9-1 over the last 10 games. The Spurs just 5-5 over the same stretch, but numbers really tell the whole story in June. Momentum matters, adjustments matter, and nerves matter, and perhaps most of all, history matters, because for the Knicks, every win brings them closer to a parade. Generations have waited to see how much pressure is on the Knicks tonight.
There's a lot of pressure on the New York Knicks tonight, because if they don't win tonight, it could be very, very scary. I know that we saw the New York Knicks win in San Antonio, 2 games, might I add, but if you lose 2 games at home and then you're on the road, that's a different sort of way to suck your energy out, because the New York Knicks came in with a fresh slate when they played in San Antonio. They just told themselves, we're better than this team. They don't have the Shaolin mentality, whatever, and they won. That's great. But now, if you're losing 2 games at home and the away team has beaten you after losing those 2 games, that's a whole different energy dynamic. It's a whole change.
And same could be said for San Antonio.
Yeah, absolutely. Same could be said for them. And I just hope, if you're the Knicks and God forbid you lose tonight, I hope you have a lot of New York Knicks fans in San Antonio waiting for you, because you might need, Spike Lee to come, slap a guy on the rear end and say, get it together.
Spike might play tonight if they're not doing well. Like, his jersey's ready.
Yeah, I mean, Spike might get in there and throw the little 1-2, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Again, not advocating for it, but I mean, in Spike's mind of minds, he'll be furious and he'll have a lot of choice words for you New York Knicks players if you lose. So don't let Spike Lee go on Instagram Live and call you guys out, because I know how ugly that can be. I've seen it.
There are a lot of Knicks legends who hopefully will not need to step on the court, but but there are a lot here if need be. Carmelo Anthony's here. Jeremy Lin, of course, is here. Saw Bernard King on NBA Today, the great legend as well. Game 4, Madison Square Garden coming your way at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time as the Knicks try to regain control. The Spurs trying to even the series. And with that, we welcome you to the NBA Finals Hardwood Report. Ryder Bullock alongside Benjamin Zion as we get you set for a pivotal game for the NBA Finals. Here's what's trending around the league and around this series. First up, LeBron James is once again making headlines. In a recent interview, the NBA's all-time leading scorer was asked about the never-ending GOAT debate. His answer, simple and direct: I'm not taking nobody over me. LeBron acknowledged that legends like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would likely say the same thing about themselves. But James made it clear that if a general manager had the first pick and every great player in history was standing on the baseline, he'd bet on himself. He also admitted retirement remains a possibility, saying he'll know it's time when he no longer loves the preparation that comes with being an NBA player. Meanwhile, the NBA Finals controversy meter remains high. The league announced that Victor Wembanyama's first quarter shove of Jalen Brunson in Game 3 will not be upgraded to a flagrant foul. The play generated plenty of debate across sports television and social media after Brunson was sent to the floor without a whistle. Wembanyama remains at a 2 postseason flagrant points and avoids moving closer to an automatic suspension threshold. Off the court, both teams are condemning fan violence following San Antonio's Game 3 victory at Madison Square Garden. Video surfaced showing apparent attacks on Spurs fans in New York. Wembanyama called the incident unacceptable, while Karl-Anthony Towns reminded everyone that basketball should be enjoyed with respect. Spurs players emphasized that rivalry and passion are part of the finals, but physical confrontations between fans should never be. And finally, a major storyline heading into Game 4. Where has Karl-Anthony Towns gone in the fourth quarter? Through 3 finals games, Towns have been held scoreless in every fourth quarter.
Can't happen.
Knicks coach Mike Brown publicly acknowledged that New York must do a better job getting the all-star big man touches late in games. The Knicks offense stalled down the stretch of Game 3, and Brown believes quicker decisions, better ball movement, and more involvement from Towns are critical if New York wants to regain control of this series. So heading into Game 4, Benjamin, can the Knicks respond after their first loss in 46 days?
I think they have to respond, and they will respond. The only question is, what do we get in the fourth quarter from this New York Knicks team?
Right.
I didn't expect to see Cat go and, have no points in the fourth. I thought that, maybe Josh Hart might not score in the fourth. Maybe it could be an OG that might not score in the fourth. Not to say that those guys can't score.
But you can't have a 0 dud from Karl-Anthony Towns and expect to win.
No, not at all. You can play through Karl-Anthony Towns, Bridges, and Jalen Brunson exclusively. That's not what I would necessarily like in the fourth quarter, but we've seen that from the New York Knicks, where OG plays a lot of defense, and so does Josh Hart. The other guys are getting the touches for those shots. So, Karl has to just be engaged. He has to make sure he can be dominant in the fourth, because you can't only rely on Bridges and Brunson. You can't. Even if Anunoby's on fire, when you're 7 feet tall, when you're Karl-Anthony Towns, you have the opportunity to get easier shots down low than all of these other guys, and that's just point blank a fact. Also, Karl-Anthony Towns is not a bad three-point shooter. I don't understand one thing about Karl. Sometimes he'll just do that play where he gets the ball, it's passed into him, he'll run up 2 steps and shoot it right before the three-point line. It's a swish, no problem. I don't know why he can't replicate that shot a little bit more, personally. I noticed that that's his favorite three-point shot. Otherwise, if he's standing at the line, he'll prefer to try to drive. So he's got moves, Karl-Anthony Towns. He should utilize them. I don't think he should be, on the sideline, he needs to be, hypothetically speaking, for a pass out. He should be ready to receive the ball down low or at the three-point line in the fourth quarter when it matters.
Okay. We know that Wembanyama's going to step up tonight. Who are you expecting from the Spurs to have a great electrifying moment that could potentially tie this series?
Ooh, electrifying moment. I was actually going to say I expect Johnson to give Karl-Anthony Towns problems, and he has to figure out his way around that. If he doesn't, that's a very big problem for the New York Knicks. But for the fourth quarter moment for the Spurs, it's probably going to be Wemby or Castle.
Yeah.
Unless Castle is not shooting well for some reason, then you might have to see a fourth quarter Fox, next to Wemby. But we know no matter what, Wemby is going to be active in the fourth quarter unless he gets foul trouble or something. Or if he does a bonehead move. I just want to say, throwing someone by the neck, that's literally what Wemby did.
Right, yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Flagrant?
To me, that's a flagrant.
Okay, so we missed one there.
I think we missed one, and that's a shame because I'm all good with, honestly, it's playoff basketball, it's the NBA Finals. When there's a little pushing and shoving, a little trash talk, okay, fine. Let it go as long as someone's not trying to slap you or hit you in the face.
Right. But this is a 7'4" behemoth.
Yeah.
Going up against 6'4", and I know we say big body Brunson, but he's 6'4".
Yeah, he could have hurt Brunson if he threw him with force.
Yeah.
He pushed him enough for him to fall. It wasn't a flop. It was a real grab you in the neck and push you. But otherwise, if it's a little trash talk, a little pushing and shoving, fine. Don't call the flagrant, double foul at most, move on. But to throw someone by the neck, it's just so egregious.
Yeah.
And to me, so wrong. I'm not saying that Wemby's a bad person. It's just a bonehead move. Wemby can't have another bonehead move like that because I think they will call it this time. I don't know how you're not going to call a flagrant if he does something that was deemed as flagrant after he's done something that the whole world saw in the last game, and a lot of people said, oh yeah, that's definitely flagrant.
Now, Game 3, poorly officiated.
Yeah.
What do the refs need to do in Game 4 to take control and establish and kind of get their credibility back?
Sometimes the refs come and talk to the players beforehand, and they say, hey, we're calling it if you're gonna, grab someone and pull them down to the ground, whatever the case. But if there's a little pushing and shoving, a little hand checking, we'll let it fly as long as it's not on the jump shot. You're not going to be able to hit someone in the wrist on the jump shot, but if you're hand checking before the person has the ball, maybe we'll let that slide. Maybe we'll let a little bit of a hip check slide here and there, not a moving screen. But, I mean, the refs, I think, just have to be very, very, very clear with what they're calling, and I would appreciate it if the refs do come out and tell the players what they're going to call. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes the refs just come in, I'm going to call it the way I want, and I don't need to explain it to the players, because sometimes the players or the coaching staff will say, oh, no, we want it this way, we want it that way, and then now there's an argument before the game has even started. So it depends on how the refs want to do it, and it'd actually be really interesting to hop on Twitter or social media and see if any of the refs will let us know if they've talked to the players and the coaching staff or whatever beforehand about what they're going to call or not, and it's just, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. How much longer do you think the basketball world will debate LeBron versus Jordan?
It's going to be probably for decades, I would assume. When you're 41 years old and still playing and at a high level, it's just mind-boggling. A lot of people can't understand it, especially in our generation, Ryder. I mean, we're born in 96.
Yep.
Who can you think of that played such a sport where you have to be athletic, you have to be fit? This is, I don't mean to be rude to baseball fans, but you could be overweight in baseball and still be a slugger or a pitcher or a fielder. You can't be slow and overweight and all that in basketball. You have to be very fit. So I can't think of anyone that's played to be this old that's as good as LeBron James is. And at the same time, when it comes to just the dominance of the player, people comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron James is a little bit of a different category when it comes to the style of play, of course.
Yeah.
So then do we have to separate out GOAT categories as in, okay, Michael Jordan, best jump shooter of all time and blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know what internet culture, because, like, for some it's all about the rings. If you don't have, you got 6 rings, you've only got X rings, know. Draymond,
I mean, you got Carmelo Anthony saying he's better than Brunson, even if Brunson gets a ring.
Right. And
talking to you, Carmelo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no. Carl should.
Fresh our before being born knowledge. Time we go. Kobe. He was
play.
A beast. Michael. He really was. He was a beast. Michael. He really was. Pat Marks. UG. I don't want to call.
Champion. The walk orders. The moment. His lumps constantly something appearances and sketching a statue. Think about that for a second. Outside the gates, ball game down, beating on obvious first game down, beating on obvious first finals victory. So Benjamin,
you get to
stay the course.
And it's about getting
night. This series came Monday night. The San Antonio Spurs reminded everyone why they won 60. Came Monday night. The San Antonio Spurs reminded everyone why they won 62 games this season. Victor Wembanyama, magnificent, 32 points. But maybe it's not yet. Fourth, change.
New York reporting. They're a great combo together. And then you could also have Barnes come in, maybe that have Clark's, Landry Shan are what I've seen. But if they're not playing
on opening deals, Hudson's job is to make this game the rebound game possession over as first NBA championship possession over